an enigmatic labor of the spirit. Really is an enigmatic labor. You see, as if out of nothing, you have to bring out something. Well, that is never possible. You can never bring out anything out of nothing. You can never bring out anything out of nothing, you see. Impossible. It is a contradiction of things. Nothing is nothing. So what can come out of it? You see, nothing can come out of it. Out of it, you see. Shamantu says, you see, we say now, life has appeared in matter. Mind has appeared in life in matter. Well, it is not that out of nothing they have come. They were already present in the inconscient existence. Inconscient life was there, inconscient mind was there, inconscient spirit is there, inconscient soul. All these things are present. It is they who are kind of getting opened out in the process of evolution, coming out. So it is not really something is coming out of nothing. It is not that. They are intrinsically. You can't say matter has produced life. Matter cannot produce life unless life is present in matter already. Life can manifest in matter, can open out in matter if something happens. See, by itself, the life which is locked in matter cannot work. Life which is locked in matter cannot work by itself. So, the higher life enters into it and starts operating there and wakens and stirs up this life and starts bringing it up slowly up. So it is that higher life which is prompting, prodding, carrying forward the life which is sleeping all the while in matter. You see. It is same thing. Now our higher course of evolution also, there is the infinite spirit in us. The Superman has to appear here. The Superman is already present in us. We are not aware of it. He has to be wakened up. He has to be sort of brought forward by our sadhana, by our tapasya, by our yoga. See that. Otherwise, it's there. There has to be a descent from above. It is that descent which will kindle up the flame from below and light up like that. You see. An enigmatic labor, that is the enigmatic labor of the spirit, an exact machine of which none knows the use, an art and ingenuity without sense. Well, it looks like an art and ingenuity without sense. This minute, elaborate, orchestrated life. Orchestrated has a little different meaning also. Manipulated, maneuvered. You have orchestrated. See, it also means manipulated, orchestrated. But here also it means that it is bringing a richness of harmony, orchestration. See. This minute, elaborate, orchestrated means it has been kind of designed that way. It has been put that way. See. Forever plays its motiveless symphony. So there is the music of life. The mind learns and knows not. Turning is back to truth. Well, that is mind has a certain capacity, is a necessity also. It has to appear in the scheme of things here. But then it learns to work here in this condition also. But ultimately it knows not. It knows nothing. It really knows nothing. Mind knows nothing. Because it has not looked into truth. It turns its back to truth. Mind cannot look into truth directly. Therefore it knows not. Although it learns, it does not know. It's really so. I mean, you learn so many things about science. This happens, that happens, chemistry, you do that kind of thing. You produce a variety of elements, marvels and all that kind of thing. But you really don't know what it is. You really don't know what it is, you see. You have only a piece of silicon, and then you build up the entire integral circuitry on the basis of silicon chips. And then you have got this internet, you have got all these things. All these things are happening. You have learned all those things, but you have not really known what it is. what is the speciality of silicon to give rise to all these manifestations. We have absolutely no knowledge of it, you see. And we have been trying, scientists have been trying, whether there can be some other element which can also produce something like that, what silicon has done. You see. They tried many other things also. In the periodic table, you have got 4 elements: carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, all these things. They have more or less same properties, but they cannot really lend themselves so much to silicon at all. So what is the speciality of silicon proper alone, that it produces this kind of a miraculous material, and you have got the whole civilization now based on that. Same thing, the entire life world is based on carbon. There is something absolutely remarkable in carbon. Now, yes, carbon is this one, you have got this kind of carbon, that kind of bonds are there, cyclic bonds are there, linear bonds are there, chain bonds, all those things you have described, you learned all those things. But you have not really known what that carbon is there for. Can it be replaced? Is carbon the only base of life? Can there be some other base on the basis of which life can be built? In the periodic table, carbon and silicon, they fall in the same category of properties. Carbon, silicon, germanium, they come in the same category of properties. But then you can't replace carbon with silicon and make a man with silicon. Impossible. Similarly, you can't build up silicon chips on the basis of carbon, you see. So there is something, we have learned many of these things, but we don't know what that is, what is locked in them, you see. The mystery that is unknown to us still, you see. That is mindscape. Well, I think these are the problems which people don't even ask. These are the questions we don't ask. Can life be built on silicon? People have this question, but they find insufficient answer that they are not able to do that kind of thing at all. Maybe in some other world, some other universe, some other planet with suitable conditions, life could be based not on carbon but on silicon. Who knows? But then that is a speculation, you see. That is a speculation, you see. So we learn, but we don't know. Last time, I have been giving this example very often. Oxygen and hydrogen, you combine and become water. Yes, you have learned all that thing. But how the new properties have come in water, which are not present in oxygen and hydrogen, of that we have absolutely no knowledge, no understanding at all. How they have happened, you see. The mind learns and knows not, turning its back to truth. Well, turning its back to truth. But is mind really capable of looking at truth? So this is not turning back in that sense. It studies surface laws by surface thought, lies step surveys and nature's process sees. Well, it sees, lies surveys, nature's process sees. These are examples I have been giving you. Not seeing for what she acts or why we live. Mind cannot see that. See nature. What for? Sorry, life. No, well, life steps surveyed and nature processes, not seeing for what she acts, nature. Nature acts. Or why we live, what for we are here, we have absolutely no knowledge, mind cannot. It masks her tireless care of just a divine, her perfect intricacy of fine detail, nature's perfect intricacy of fine details. The ingenious spirit's brave, inventive plan, in her great futile mass of endless world, life, nature's world, as purposeful figures to her purposeless sum. Well, some figures are there. On the close carved foundation she has led. Imagine citadels reared in mythic air, or mounts stairs of dream to a mystic moon, mounts stare or drain to a mystic moon. Really, we are not only mounting to a mystic moon, we are really going to the moon, to Apollo, you see. Apollo missions are being carried out, you see. So that is everything. Our mounts stare or dream. So it is no more really a dream, it is a factuality now, you see, in space. A world conjecture's scheme is labored out on the dim floor of mind's incertitude, or painfully build a fragmentary whole. Painfully build a fragmentary whole. What an oxymoron, fragmentary whole. See, what you see is only bits and small pieces and all that thing. But when they join together, they look whole, you see, like that. You see. Impenetrable, a mystery recondite, impenetrable, a mystery recondite. A vast plan, I am penetrable, Pirik, a mess, I am tri, Pirik, recondite, amphibrach, recondite, amphibrach, decimeter. Impenetrable, a mystery recondite, a vast plan of which we are a part. In the vast plan of which we are a part. But we don't know that we are a part of that plan. the tragedy or the mystery is that we don't know we are really a part of that big plan, you see. The yogi knows it, but we are not aware of it, you see. And the vast plan of which we are a part is harmony, the discourse to our view, obviously, because we are seeing fragmentary whole. We are seeing fragmentary whole. Therefore, its harmonies are discordant to our view. This note, this note, this note, this note, but we don't know how these notes combine together and produce a harmony. These fragments, how they produce the whole, of that we have no knowledge, you see. Because we know not the great theme, this fragment, this discord, this harmony, the harmonies serve a great theme. We are not aware of that inscrutable word, the cosmic agencies. Only the fringe of a wide surge we see. Only the fringe of a wide surge we see. Suddenly something happens, surge, movement is there suddenly, see. Water coming. Our instruments had not that greater light. Our will tunes not with the eternal will. The whole tragedy is this. The whole dilemma is this. The whole problem is here. If the problem has to be solved, the problem has to be solved here. That our will must tune itself with eternal will. Then the problem is solved. Our will tunes not with eternal will. Therefore, all these problems, all the difficulties, all the dilemmas are there, perplexity. Our will tunes not with the eternal will. Well, our heart's sight is too blind and passionate. Too blind, well, it cannot see beyond life forces. It is passionate, emotions, feelings, life, vital, you see, it cannot. But the basic line is, our will tunes not with the eternal will. The first thing is, of course, we have to know what is our own will. What is our own will? We never ask that question to ourselves. What is it I want to will? I don't ask that question to myself at all, you see. Now, at the same time, my will is different than your will, than your will, than your will, than your will. All these wills have to be different. They have to be different. Each individual must have his own will. The true individuality of a person, of an individual, lies in acquiring his own will. Acquiring his own will. Now that needs great sadhana, great tapasya, great sacrifice, great yajna. To know what is the will of my soul, in that case I have discovered myself. And It is that will of mine now has to be one with the eternal will. Now, when the eternal will is there, her will is different, your will is there, his will is there, his will, my will, they are different. Does it mean that the eternal has so many wills? The eternal also has, in a certain sense, a will for each will to progress in its own way. To progress in its own way. The eternal will does not mean that the eternal is going to impose his will on your will or her will or my will. No, the eternal is God is not going to impose his will on your will. The eternal is going to will. His will is let there be the expression of the Spirit's possibilities in you. The Spirit's possibilities are different for each different individual. Your possibilities are different, my possibilities are different. And the will of the eternal is that those possibilities should come into expression. That is the eternal's will. It is not that he has one single will for everybody. Then it is meaningless. Then it is dictatorship. It is futile in a certain way. The will of the individual has to develop so that it recognizes what is his place in the entire scheme of things, what is his svabhava, his nature, his character, and it is that which must come into manifestation. See, if I got a certain character, I am a heroic person, well, it is the will of the heroism which must come into expression of life here. If I am a wise man, it is the wisdom which must come into true wisdom, which must come into expression here. If it is beauty, if it is painter, if it is musician, it is that which must come into expression here. That is the eternal will. The eternal will is that the divine manifestation takes place in the multiplicity of the possibilities of the Spirit. Possibilities of the spirits are multiple. Each possibility has to express itself in each individual. Each soul is meant for that. So your soul is different than my soul in that sense, that your expression of the divine is different than my expression of the divine. Yet there is a kind of unity at a different level. So our will tunes not with eternal will. Well, that is it. See, I have been giving these two examples. Ashrapati and the Divine Mother, they are face to face each other. The rendezvous is happening on the summit mind between the two, and then the Divine Mother says, you are in a hurry, you are in a haste. Why you are in a hurry? Time will take care of everything. You lend your own help to time and let time carry on the evolution further. You don't have to bother about the other consequences at all. I am there, I will take care of everything. Your purpose is to have time to grow. But you are in a hurry to make time run fast. Why? Now that is the kind of an advice she is given to Ashrapati. And then Ashrapati says, that is her will, that is her plan, that is her scheme. Then Ashrapati says, I am sorry, madam, I am not going to listen to you. That let time work in its own manner. That is not my way. I want time to work in a certain manner. That is my will. That is my desire. That is my tapas samarthya. That I want the time to work in a certain manner. And it is for that time to work in a certain manner, you must come and do certain things. You see. So he is contradicting the divine himself, challenging the divine and setting her advice aside. Sorry, I am not going to listen to your advice. Maybe you are divine, but I am not going to go by. That is the will, our will. You have to acquire such siddhi in your will that you can even challenge to the divine in that sense, you see. Same thing happened in the case of Savitri also. When Savitri reaches into the transcendent, she is offered, oh Savitri, you had a great, wonderful thing. You have climbed up through the doors of death and come to this world of Satchidananda, come and live here, and earth, etc., you are taken care of. Savitri says, I am sorry, Lord, no, that won't do for me, Lord. My wish is that I want Solo Satyavan to be taken back to earth. In other words, she has now such yoga samarthya, such yogic capacity in her that she can debate with the Lord Himself and argue in a different manner. Her will she is able to impose upon His will in that sense. And He accepts it because all these wills are the will in the truth. This is a will which is in the truth, this is a will in the truth, this is a will in the truth. So, by this will, this truth will flower out. By this will, this truth will flower out. By this will, this truth will flower out. So, it is the flowering of different truths in that sense, which is the joy of creation also. See. So, our will tunes not. So, our will tuning not in that sense, you have to see in the much brighter way. Our heart side is too blind and passionate.